How about we just ask who learned something and just tell me what you learned?
Just the phone contact is
Phone contact, yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. So when Steve was saying then, look, it's their name and their email, I would add phone to that every time. I'm not saying for a moment that you wouldn't grab their email, of course you would, but we might just tone that down a bit. Chris, can you just turn down a little bit? It's a little bit echoey, yeah. And I'm a diva. So yeah, look, you always get their email. It's just that, you know, and I'm not saying that you wouldn't get their email. It's just that, you know, we get on our 15,000, I think, list that we've got, we'll get somewhere between 14 and 24% open rate, which is very good in this day and age, you know. And it just, you know what the open rate depends on, don't we? Anyone want to take a stab for $1 million? Well, yeah, no, not the content, no. The subject line, yeah, the subject line. So therefore, we're testing different subject lines all the time, and it's a subject line that'll get it open or not. So yeah, getting a phone number is really important because text messaging is 94% open rate within 3 minutes, and that's the average. Yeah. And what did you learn? Benefits rather than, yep. It's all about the benefits and not the features. And I use that gag with Jenny Craig, but if it was about the features, then Jenny Craig would just show a bowl of rice. She'd have in every one of the ads, and it's not that. It's, you know, she shows the benefits of whether it's the Spice Girl or whether it's somebody else, but you see them before and after. And, you know, like we've had companies on board that have got the high pressure water cleaners like the gurneys, and they're the easiest thing in the world to sell because you can show the driveway half clean and half dirty. And Facebook these days, unfortunately, for skincare and a lot of beauty products, you can't do before and afters because they got a bit upset with photoshopping and all sorts of stuff like that. It's a real shame because before and after in that game is unbelievable, you know, with wrinkle creams and all sorts of stuff. Anybody else? Anybody else for, sorry? Use the videos, yeah, and Steve just took it to another level, didn't he? Yeah, exactly. Girls, someone else, yeah. Video testimonials on the homepage. Don't put them on a video testimonial page. Put them on the home. Well, you still have your testimonial page. I'm not saying that's that's good for your relatives to go and have a look at it. But you know, pick out the best 2 or 3 and put them on your homepage. Put everything that you think is an important trigger on your homepage. Yeah. Okay. Right. So one more. Yep. 33. I've got 38 on my website. 38 video testimonials, and I sorry, no, not one. Yeah, well, no, I've got them throughout the website because it's quite a decent sized website. But the good ones I will put up as much as I possibly can on the homepage. Yeah. Okay. So good. Okay, and I want to give you the 5. I got distracted before when we were doing a bit of a joke, and I was going to tell you the 5 things that you need to consider when you're putting together a direct response marketing campaign. And give me a second. I'll just write them down here for you. Okay. So number 1 is that identify your most profitable customer. Okay. Most profitable customer. Okay. Number 2, create a wow factor and take their eyes off the price. Who here wants to sell on price? Nobody. If you sell on price, then of course you're a commodity. Who here wants to be a commodity? Anybody want to be a commodity? If you're a commodity, it means is that you are subject to price discounting. It means that Bunnings or Kmart or whoever your competitors are can just drop the price. Have you seen here today already with Pat and with my stuff and just with Steve that we're anything but a commodity? Because I would challenge you to go to any other seminar or workshop of any sort to see this sort of content come out in the first 8 hours. There's not a chance in the world. I've been to millions of them around the world. I paid around about $60,000. It was 25 US, which is like 33 Australian, I guess. And by the time I went backwards and forwards for a few meetings, I paid $60,000 to go to 3 events in the US for a guy that has a lot of pretty well-known speakers at that thing. Anthony Robbins was there, and names that only people that muck around the internet world would probably know. But you know, some pretty, you know, and you know what? If I could have asked for my money back, I would have. It was just not good value at all. It was 2 days, 3 times a year, and I think Gail and I went over there in the November, the January, and the May or something. And I would come back to the hotel of a night time because I'd spend 2 days with this thing, and Gail would say to me, "How was today?" I said, "Just rubbish." It was rubbish. The speaker had a particular alcohol problem in his early days, and so therefore he spent half a day telling us about that. I want to put my hand, and then the other half a day was spent about talking about Obamacare. And I want to put my hand up and go, "Excuse me." I paid $60,000. I come 12,000 miles. I thought we were going to get some content. And it was just like a self-gratification fest. It was just crazy. And I think, you know, whilst we might be a little biased, but I don't think you go anywhere where you get this sort of content in one day. And by the way, you never paid for it. Like, that's the other part. Am I being a wanker, or was this good content? Yeah, it's pretty good content. And the thing is that and we're not a commodity. The reason I'm saying that is we're not a commodity. You know, you won't see it so much this afternoon, but on my presentation tomorrow morning at 8:30 till 10, please make sure you get here on time, because 8:30 through to 8:45 is like super duper duper valuable. I'll show you that I can put together a marketing plan for your business in probably the space of a week. And that marketing plan normally would be worth $25,000. And I'll show you how we put that together quickly and why we can do that, because it's based on something that starts with S. And Pat said it a moment ago. What's it based on? System. That's it. So you don't want me, you want my system. And the thing is if there is only one of Pat, and there's only one of me, and only one of Steve Esser, and I know that sounds very wanky, but if you're particularly clever at whatever you do, and many of you might be in the same position, you don't want to sell you, because that's time for money. You want to sell the system. And besides which, you don't want just us. You want the system. You want the system. So therefore, you can hang around with us for a while if you want, but you want to be able to walk away and then have that magic herbs and spices. You want the formula. Certainly that's what I do if I'm going to join one of those things. So you want not to be a commodity, and we're not a commodity, which means that if you're not a commodity, it's very hard for you to compare. Whatever we may offer you, it's very hard for you to compare us with anyone else. You can't. There's not a chance in the world that what you've seen here today is available anywhere else in the world. You will get your Facebook experts, don't get me wrong. There's some people out there that just do Facebook. There's some people out there that just do website design. There's some people out there that just do lots of things, individual things, one-trick ponies, but you won't see the combination of these things all in the one shop. There's not a chance. And the reason that we've done that, and we've come together, this is the first one that Pat and I have done. When he asked me, would we do that, I said, you know what, this is interesting, because it's the Moscow circus. You've got everything under the one tent. Makes a lot of sense. Circus in a lot of ways too. Yeah. Yeah. And we are not a commodity. You don't want to be another lawnmower. You don't want to be just another fish shop. And I often say to people when they come on board, the interrogation question I ask is that, what's your wow factor? You know how, like, a lot of speakers, and even Pat brought it up earlier today, what's your why? And a lot of times the why is our family. We want to make sure we give the kids a good life and all sorts of things like that. And that's important. But I actually ask, what's your wow? And McDonald's wow factor is a free toy in the Happy Meal, because their hamburgers are pretty shit house, most people would say, okay? And so therefore we've got 6 kids. They're all millennials, so they're adults these days. But for a long time, we had a lot of kids that were young. At one stage, we had 6 under 12, so that Tarago was pretty noisy. And we called off at McDonald's because we were parents who wanted to give their children unhealthy food. And so if it shut them up in the car, that was fine. And we'd get 6 Happy Meals. Do you think they were interested in the hamburger? It was out the window. Why did we get 6 Happy Meals? Because of the free? Okay, so when I went to the Greater Building Society and the mob that I got signed for to do advertising for them, I said to them, around the boardroom table, they're all boring bankers, of course, and I had to get their attention. I threw a Happy Meal box in the middle of the table, big boardroom table with about a dozen executives. And they said, I'd been there about a month, and they'd caught on to my sarcasm. It was a bit cheeky, but it was very different in a bank, of course, to come across someone like me. And they said, what's that? I said, that's your new home loan promotion. They said, what? I said, that's the home loan brand. They said, a Happy Meal box. I said, yeah, that's right. And they went, you're an idiot. I said, yeah, well, maybe, but I pulled out the toy. I said, this is going to sell home loans for you. And they went, what? And I said, I'm going to pull out a $100 note, because that normally gets the attention of bankers, because money. I said, I'll give $100 to any one of you guys. First of all, have you got children or grandchildren? They all said yes. I said, who's bought Happy Meals? They all put their hand up. I said, okay, I'll give $100 to anyone that can tell me what a Happy Meal costs. And for 20 minutes, no one got within 50 cents of it. I couldn't tell you what a Happy Meal cost. We just bought it to shut the little bastards up. So McDonald's, for now 30-odd years, have taken our eye off the price because of a wow factor. Harvey Norman does it through 2 years interest-free. Kellogg's Cornflakes have been doing it for 50 years, free toy at the bottom of the box, okay? If you don't have an organic wow factor, which we have, we don't have to give away anything for free. There's no one that does what I do. There's no one that does what Pat does, and there's no one that I've come across that does what Steve does. So therefore, we don't need an artificial wow factor, because the wow factor's in the damn product. and nor does Rubik's Cube. Rubik's Cube doesn't need a wow factor. There's only one Rubik's Cube. David Copperfield doesn't need a wow factor. There's only one David Copperfield. But I tell you who needs a wow factor, Harvey Norman, because there's lots of Harvey Norman style stores out there. So what does he do to stand out from the crowd? 2 years, interest free, okay? Yeah, so the point is that if you're in a crowded marketplace and you don't have an organic wow factor, which just means you're unique as it is, then you better dream up some shit, okay? And that's what I think I'm good at. We know that most of you don't have an organic wow factor, because if you're a physiotherapist, there's lots of them out there. Or if you're a veterinarian, there's lots of them out there. If you're a dentist, there's lots of them out there. So, we just doubled a dentist's turnover for him in a month in Melbourne, because I said to him, who's his target audience? And he said, he's an orthodontist. He said, basically, teenage girls. The boys don't care much about straight teeth, but the girls do. So I said, okay, fair enough. And I said, what do you charge for Invisalign braces? And it's $8,000. It's not cheap. And I said, okay, have you got any competition? He said, yeah, bloody dentists. So orthodontists hate dentists. And the reason they do is because dentists didn't do that extra year or two at uni. And they're stealing a lot of the braces work off them by saying, well, we can do it for $5,000. And the orthodontist went for another year or two at uni, of course, and they got the shits with the fact that the dentist can undercut them. And I said, well, that's because you don't have any wow factor. And he said, oh, but we're better than them. And I said, yeah, but look, for God's sake, I mean, everyone would say, but is there any demonstration that you've got that we can say that you're going to use, like Invisalign? Everyone knows what Invisalign is. It's the invisible braces, so you don't have metal train tracks in your mouth anymore. You can just put these things in. And is there any physical proof that you're better at putting them on, or you give less pain? Or he's oh, not really. I said, good, okay. Well, in that case, every young girl who's 13, 14, it's about 13 or 14 years of age, the girls start to get them because they've got their adult teeth by then, okay? And their parents want to make sure that little daughter's looked after, so they'll pay the $8,000 for the braces. I said, you're going to be the only dentist now that actually with the Invisalign braces comes an iPad. It'd be free iPad, okay? And we tested iWatch and all the other eyes, but iPad wins, okay? And immediately his phone began to ring, okay? Or should I say his website began to melt, because that was his Happy Meal toy. There's no, and you know what? Everyone says to me, oh, but if you come up with one of these things, then won't everyone just copy you? No, because most people are suffering from dickheaditis. And, the Building Society, when they said to them, listen, because they said to me, hang on, the Happy Meal toy for a home loan, I said, look, I'm being metaphorical. What I'm saying is that you need to actually get something that's going to take everyone's eyes off interest rates. Because at the time, they were just on TV like every other bank saying, get a home loan from us and you'll pay whatever it was, 4.2%, right? And of course, the bank down the road would be 4.1%. And then they'd go 4%, the bank down the road would be 3.9. Now, the Greater Building Society is 252nd biggest business in Australia, but they're not as big as the Combank or ANZ, so therefore they're a baby compared to them, but nonetheless, they're a big business. And I said, do you realise you're never going to beat the Commonwealth Bank? That's a 40-ton gorilla. If you want to take them on price, which is interest rate, you'll never win. You've got to come up with one of these. Because really, at the end of the day, the way I got their attention is that when I did pull out the note, I said, look, I can buy money or get money from any bank and it's the same. It smells the same, it looks the same, it does the same. There's nothing different about that. If I buy Cadbury chocolate, it's different from Nestle. Cadbury chocolate tastes better than the other chocolate, okay? Coca-Cola tastes better than Pepsi, or whatever you might say. BMW is better than Mesiti. But the thing is there's nothing different from that at all. The only difference is that when I get that from the bank, I'm going to pay 4.2 or 4.1%. So where am I going to go? 4.1%. And if you're not as big as the 40-ton gorilla, which is the big four banks, you're just going to be, not a chance. And so they said, well, what do we do? And I said, well, what we'll do is that I've been doing a few commercials on TV with Kerry Ann. At the time at Channel 9, I used to spend a lot of time there doing infomercials with ab swings that are under a lot of people's beds these days. And we were doing a holiday deal. And it was a travel company that was a wholesale company. And we would get $5,000 holidays for 2.5 and flog them on TV. And I said, that's what I could do. And they said, what do you mean? I said, well, tell me this. What do you have as an acquisition tool at the moment for home loans? And they went, oh, JD, that's where you're going to be really proud of us. We're pretty smart. We have a 1% honeymoon rate. I said, it's like Westfield saying we've got air conditioning. I mean, everyone's got a 1% honeymoon rate. I mean, everyone agrees who's ever got a home loan, there's always a 1% honeymoon rate. I said, how about you give that to me and I'll turn that 1% honeymoon rate, which on a $500,000 loan is $5,000 that you save on the first year, right? we'll put that $5,000 and give it to a holiday company, and they'll give you a $10,000 holiday for it. And what we'll do now is that we'll transfer what was not a wow factor, but you thought it was, and that is the actual honeymoon rate, which is $5,000. We'll turn that into a free holiday. And we'll say, get a home loan from the Building Society and you get a free holiday. And that's what happened. And we tripled their home loans in the first 18 months. We're talking billions of dollars, not millions. And this dickhead did not charge a percentage, you know. I asked for it, but they said, oh, if the Reserve Bank puts down interest rates, then of course it's not going to be attributed to you. I said, we'll work out some sort of variables, all right? Because I knew what would happen, but I never got away with it. It just went nuts. We came on TV and we showed bank customers, you know, sitting at the end of the bed going, oh, you know, they charged me for fee, they charged me to put money in, they charged me to take money out, they charged me for this, they charged me for that. Next minute, you see another couple with their family in Fiji or Hawaii going, we got sick of all those charges, okay? Problem, solution, okay? We got sick of all those charges. We decided to swap our home loan to the greater, Heavenly Music, White Doves, and we're in Fiji, okay? And it was so easy. It was like taking candy from a baby. And that particular audience that we were chasing, because building societies and credit unions tend to be working class, so they've got 330,000 customers, and most of them couriers or plumbers or electricians, you know, anyone that actually wears a coat generally goes to one of the big four banks and just gets beat up by fees and charges. But the working class people, if you have a working class audience, they are the easiest audience to get the eyes off the prize. This is all from years worth of research, by the way, so I'm not just babbling out this stuff. We know it pretty well. We know what turns someone on at Mossman and Manly. We know what turns someone on in Mount Druitt. But when you're dealing with an audience that's working class, which we affectionately call the Peter Jackson 50s audience, oh, that was shag carpet too, which is normally in the lounge room. And so the thing is, they're easy to take the eyes off the price. They're easy to take. Who deals at the moment in their business, or will be dealing with, a working class sector? Who deals with that? Okay. Who deals with the BMW group? In other words, your audience is rather well off. Just put your hand up high, okay? High, okay, good. So do you understand the benefit of that is the Greater Building Society? I did their stuff for 11 years. It was a few years ago when we got into this that I gave it away. But when people say to you, oh, if you get onto one of these things and everyone will copy you, guess what? For 11 years, we stole market share from the big banks like you would not believe. Now, they could still survive because we were just a little chihuahua yapping away at their ankles, stealing their customers, and they just were too fat and lazy to look around. But the thing is that for 11 years, this thing was nuts. It was all over the news. When I got Seinfeld to do it, it just went further. You put a wow factor on top of a wow factor. So, you know, some years into it, I got Seinfeld to do the advertising. So Seinfeld actually says, get a home loan, get a free holiday. And then it just went whooshka all over again. And not once in that 11 years. We're pretty heavy on advertising. This is Building Society was the largest TV advertiser in regional areas in Australia. So we're talking like Tamworth and Port Macquarie and Coffs Harbour and Wollongong, Newcastle. It was massive. They'd have the movies and squeeze the movies in around my ads. And the reason is that we were such a large advertiser, we could buy ads that normally would cost $1,000 for $100, and we just pump them through, right? So guess what? 11 years. Do you think any other bank ever copied us? No once, because they're dickheads. Okay, the fact of the matter is that less than 5% of all business owners use this direct response model that I've given you two of at the moment. I'm going to give you three in a second. Less than 5% of businesses worldwide use it. It's crazy because they're too busy building their brand. And that's what Steve was saying. It resonated with me when I was sitting down there. He's saying, for God's sake, just go with black and white type and get the damn thing out there, right? Because the world we live in now is that, you know, you can test something, even if it is a bit ugly compared to what you want it to look like. Oh, it's not pink, it's not blue. Okay, get the damn thing out there and then see whether or not it gets traction. Then put your foot on the brake and fix it over the next week or two and put your pinks and blues in. But don't go through this nightmare. I mean, I have so many people come onto my stuff and they go, oh, we're dealing with a logo at the moment with a graphic art studio. And we still haven't worked out what our logo is. There's one lady that came onto our thing. She's got a dating business down in Melbourne. She would have taken maybe 10 months to come up with a logo. 10 months. My logo time is, if it takes more than 5 minutes, brush it. Your logo doesn't matter. You're not going to be McDonald's. I'm sorry, I've got to break the news, right? So it's unlikely you're going to be Kellogg's or Coca-Cola. And if you are, well, good luck. But everyone wants to have like some people come on board. What do they call them? So, what was that one started with Z? Or some stupid name. It was like Zapier or something. And whatever it was, I said, what's Zapier all about? He said, oh, well, it's 6 letters, just like Google. So I'm following what Google does. You just say, look, can you spell dickhead? You know, like, it's just stupid. So throw your logo out the window. Nobody cares about it but you. And if you think, well, I'm going to be the next McDonald's, well, good luck. I mean, again, insanity. But if you're going to be, fine. What do you think's more important than the logo? Anyone want to take a stab for $1 million? Starts with T. What do you think is much more, 20,000 times more important than your logo? TA. TAG. Tagline. If I asked you to draw the Woolworths logo, I was a national marketing guy in Woolworths, all right? So I know a bit about Woolworths and petrol discounts and all sorts of things like that. So if I asked you to draw the Woolworths logo, you couldn't do it. But if I ask everyone in the room now, let's repeat after me, the Woolworths tagline is, we are the... There you go. End of story. It's all over, okay? But you're going to sit there around the dining room table with your wife or husband and waste a year, whether it's going to be a triangle or circle, and no one gives a shit but you. So just stop all that rubbish. That's crazy, crazy shit. Yeah. Now, who else have I not insulted? Anyway, we'll get on to that. Okay, so number 3 is problem solution, okay? And it's what Pat has been saying all day, and that is that you've got to highlight to someone what their problem is and what your solution is. And no one does that, and except Panadol. Panadol used to, in the old days, come on TV with a lady that showed the box. So it was a little bit like those people showing the machines, the counterfeit machines. And so therefore she'd come on TV and she'd go, oh, this is Panadol, a beautiful box. She'd point to the box, like, who gives a shit about the box? And she would tell you that the ingredients in Panadol were paracetamol, codeine, and blah, blah, blah. I don't care what it's got. I want to get my headache gone in 10 minutes. Pat had a headache yesterday, and the first thing that I walked in the room here, just preparing for it, Pat said, I've got a headache. And I said to Pat, oh, you better get yourself a couple of Panadols. And he said, yeah, Pat didn't care what was in that tablet. He just wanted the headache gone. I don't care. They put cocaine in there. I just want to get my headache gone. So what the tablet people do now is they have a little clock on the screen on the TV that goes, you know, the ladies come home from work and the kids are going nuts in the kitchen and she's got a headache, so she has a tablet and the little clock goes tick, 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 10 minutes. Next minute, she's back on the screen with red lippy, blush, and, you know, she's gone from 3 out of 10 to 9.5. So therefore, it's all about the problem solution. And this one is the big one, okay? Fix your, what do you reckon it's going to say? Website, yes, because that's the director of first impressions, and Shane had lunch with us and he agrees that his director of first impressions is mighty ugly, okay? And I know whether Shane does it tomorrow or next week, but I bet you he's going to run pretty fast now to fix that website, because it is, like all of your websites, abysmal, okay? So it's just, you got to fix your website, okay? And number 5, and that is repetitive trade, okay? Repetitive trade. And that's your Netflix model, okay? And so I'll just put Netflix here. We'll talk more about this in the morning, how you can do it instantly. By the way, who's interested in changing their revenue model from what it is at the moment to Netflix? Okay, right, these guys are pretty... Do you know Netflix just got valued more than Disney? Now, Disney's just about the biggest player in town in the communications field, but now Netflix just got valued bigger than Disney. Disney owns practically everything, for God's sake. So that's how big this is. You can't benefit from repetitive trade if you don't collect something. It's called, starts with D, and it's not dickheads. Data. And I'm challenge you, go to a restaurant tonight, anywhere the restaurant we're going to. Nice people, but they're dickheads, okay? And I say that because I know that they're friends of Pat's, but Pat should, in his truest Italian style, is bash them up. And the reason is, what's it called? Ladybird. Ladybird, okay? Well, there you go. So, you know, we have a chocolate shop came on board, and she's in Robina Shopping Centre here on the Gold Coast, and she's a lovely lady. But, yeah, she needs to change something. She's in the food court called the Kitchens, which is like the worst marketed food court in Australia by a complete moron management of that Robina Shopping Centre. Talk about an unbelievable opportunity going south. I could fix that into... So we've opened up a URL. This is how up myself I am, and it's called the Business Whisperer, because I can walk within 100 yards of a business and say to Gail, that'll be gone in 6 months. And the only time I've been wrong was that there's the Spotty Cat Cafe that was down here in Sanctuary Cove, which is the worst marketed shopping complex in the world, right? And that's why you got tumbleweeds in the street down there. And I said to Gail, anyone who's lived locally around here, there was a real estate agent there now. It's opposite the ISCOs, right? And it was called Spotty Cat Cafe. And it had spots all over it with cats. And it was a cafe. And I took a video of it so I could do it on my Facebook Lives. And I put myself out. I said, oh, JD here, I just thought I'd show you that I know everything. I'm now the business whisperer. This is the Spotty Cat Cafe. Can you imagine any tennis group of ladies, particularly the Sanctuary Cove ladies, of course, they got their whole white gear on. They had the little wind-up chihuahuas. And so can you imagine them saying to their other tennis player, look, I'll meet you for coffee this morning at, where would that be? Oh, the Spotty Cat Cafe. What? And it was gone. I predicted within 6 months it was gone, within 2 or 3 months, yeah. And the other one, this lady at Ravenna, and it's called Poppy's Chocolates. And I had her up on stage and we sort of destroyed her life like Shane's. And I said to her, what were you smoking? How did the name Poppy come? Did you not think of maybe chocolate heaven or chocolate indulgement or some chocolate world or whatever? The whole damn thing is chocolate. Now, Max Brenner might get away with it. Well, they didn't. They're gone broke, by the way. But Max Brenner might have gone away with it for a while because that was a big company that raised a lot of money and they went out and built the brand. I understand that. None of us fall into that category, I don't think. So if you've got a huge amount of money, I'm not saying you can't build a brand quickly. Bupa, the new health fund, they did. They built it pretty good. But they've got tens of billions of dollars behind them, right? So that for most of us, what you want to do is get them to taste your products so that they'll fall in love with the brand. So instead of the fish shop sponsoring the local little netball team with some dickhead sign on the back of their jerseys, and he's got his ad on the side of buses or bloody back of taxis or whatever it is, then what that fish shop should be doing is actually having hostesses outside at lunchtime and dinner time handing out calamari samples so that when you're walking past, you go, oh, okay. Oh, that's nice. Thank you very much. I might go in. Then he can build his brand. Just get them to taste your product so that they'll fall in love with your brand instead of the other way around, spending a fortune trying to get them to fall in love with your brand so they'll taste your product. Who thinks it makes sense? Makes enormous sense. And you don't know the weight on my shoulders knowing everything. It's just... So I said to, what's her name, Gail? Poppy's name. What's her? Michelle. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Linda. Yeah. Okay. So I said to Linda, look, you've got to change that. And she said, to what? I said, well, as I said, chocolate heaven or whatever it might be, something that's more chocolate. And anyway, she resisted that. So I said to her, okay, and do anybody know where I'm talking about? It's a Rabina Shopping Centre Kitchens. It's the complete disaster third court. Yeah, okay. It was supposed to be New York warehouse. Well, yeah, it looks warehouse because there's no shops there anymore, and it could be fixed. I'll tell you how it could be fixed. All you got to do is put an escalator in the middle of that up to the upstairs level. It'd be fixed like bang, like that. And when you go into that shopping centre, next time you walk past what was the old Apple store, if they had an escalator taking you up into that third court, it'd be fixed like that. Now, I know it sounds a bit like a know-all, but I spent a lot of time with Westfield, so you can fix dead-end malls with an escalator really quickly. I know it's off the subject of marketing, but it sort of is. The other one, lady, Gail, sorry, the other lady, Tabating. So what I did get with Poppies, I said, put big TV screens with chocolate pouring all over waffles and chocolate on pancakes and this, that, and the other. And she said, do you think that would work? It's based on what Steve just talked about with video, right? And so therefore, that's what eventually we had to, I was working hard to convince you to do it. But if you ever go past it now and you've been in a shopping centre, I wanted video screens all around the place. They're $600 each, get 4 of them for God's sake, so you'd have one, if it was something like this here, you'd have one there, on the other side, one on the other side. She got one up and it's exploded. The business has exploded. And we redid the menu for her because the menu looked like it came from a Gestetner machine with one of the St. Joseph schools like 10 years ago. And we created photography of chocolate being poured over waffles and chocolate sundaes and this, that, and the other. No surprise. The interesting thing is people are attracted to attractive things, right? And on the other one, the lady came up for one of the hot seats because I'm leading up to another hot seat, by the way. So that's what I'm building up. Yeah, we will get to talk about Netflix and tomorrow morning. And it was a lady and a husband. They're in the audience. We had about 100 people in the room at this thing. And I said, who wants to volunteer for a hot seat? So she puts her hand up. She comes up. And I said, okay, what's your website? So she brings it up. And it's a child care centre called Tabatinga. And they came out of Coffs Harbour, but they've opened up one now in Tweed Heads. And this Tabatinga, they had a few, the Wigglesy sort of dinosaur characters and stuff on the website. It wasn't too bad. But I just said to her, Tabatinga. where did you get the name Tabatinga from? She said, oh, my husband and myself, we spent months on it. Oh, okay. But what does it mean? Because I can't imagine any yummy mummy going, well, we'll drop our kids off today. Where to? Maybe Tabatinga, you know. Sounds like a jail. And she said, well, what it means is that my husband is African, and in African language, it means jungle. And I then said, okay, just stop there, please stop there, because she's obviously clinically insane. And I said, everyone in the room, could you just tell me, who would prefer Jungle World Childcare Centre rather than Tabatinga Child, 100 out of 100, put the hand up. And she was sort of like that by that stage, which is my aim. And she said, oh, well, what would you call it? I said, Jungle World, just heard it. And she said, oh, okay. She said, would it be the worst, like, business name you've ever, like, I said, no, Dog Shit World would probably be worse. And then I stopped and said, no, actually, Tabatinga is worse than Dog Shit World. I would have gone for that, you know. So it's really important. Forget about your logo, okay? And it's all about your name, and it's all about your tagline. So my thing is called the Institute of Wow. Do you think we're an accountancy practice? No. The business I had before this that I sold was called the Dynamic Ideas Company. Dynamic Ideas Company. The acronym was not real good, Dynamic Ideas Company, but other than that, it was a pretty good name. And so we did all the scratch bingos for the newspapers and all the McDonald's and Pizza Huts and all that sort of stuff. And so therefore, you know, the thing is, worry about your name. And if your business name is, if you're wanting to expand your business and you want people to, well, if you just want a quick reaction, try and make your business name. In Pat's instance and in mine, because we do what we do and we sell us, then it's a different thing. But if you're selling widgets or you're selling a particular service that doesn't have you involved in it, so you're not Gordon Ramsay, because that's what we are, then think of a business name that actually demonstrates the benefits that you give. Toys R Us. Any idea? I know that you know, because of the online world and what have you with Amazon, they're not with us now. But do you think in its day Toys R Us was a sensible name? Because it was. You know, but if it, we come across people that come on board our thing and their business name is like Tabatinga. What the hell are they smoking? I mean, I don't know what's going on. Who here now, having listened to this, well, first of all, who thinks it makes sense that your business name would be good if it actually told people what you do? Yeah. Okay, who here now has a dickhead name? Okay, what's your business name?
It's 50% synchrony.
So it's
Synchrony.
Synchronin. No, that's a dickhead name. Yeah, that's yeah.
It's largely about scheduling and time.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. But if I said to anyone here, what's Toys R Us? Anyone want to answer that? It's a toy shop. Okay. If I said to you, anybody know what Synchroning is? No, I know they're not your audience. I understand that. But yeah, yeah. So actually, any more comments like that, security will come in. So there's only one person who can be sarcastic at the one time. It's normally me. Yeah. Okay. But you know what I mean. And I'm not saying for a moment you don't have a successful business. You probably have, so that's great. There's lots of businesses out there with weird names that are wildly successful. I'm just saying if we were starting off, any one of us, I'd probably sit around the table and think, okay, let's come up with a name that actually talks about the benefits. Yeah. This here. Let me tell you about repetitive trade if you get it right. There's a restaurant who's on board with us. And by the way, Pat, when you held that, I couldn't see it, mate. What did you hold up there? Was it? Oh, yeah, good. Yes, business come on board called Lobster Cave. And the Lobster Cave is a restaurant down in Melbourne. Minimal main meal is $51. So it's upmarket. It's got BMWs outside and Mesitis. And I said to him, okay, what are you spending on advertising? And he was spending $500,000 on advertising on the Herald Sun, which is their daily newspaper, and also on radio and a couple of other things. And I said, okay, I think we'll save you $500,000 like bang now. And he goes, why? So you're going to get rid of all that rubbish. Beau Morris in Melbourne is like, you know, travelling to Manly from the middle of Sydney is quite a way away, but it's an upmarket suburb, millions of dollars homes, you know. And he said, yeah, go on. I said, what we're going to do is we're going to collect data. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, mate, you're letting money slip through your fingers because you're not collecting data. You can go to any restaurant tonight in Australia, even to Lady Bird, okay? When Pat said to us, about a month ago, you want to go to dinner to Lady Bird? I said, no. And he said, well, you've been there before? I said, no. And he said, why don't you want to go? I said, I'm not going to any restaurant called Lady Bird. Right? Well, anyway, I'm the fool because the food was fantastic. The service was fantastic. And apparently they're doing really well, aren't they, Pat? But imagine if they had a good name, you know? So, So, because that should be, seriously, after what I've just said, that should be a childcare centre, you know. So this particular restaurant, what we did is we gave the waitresses 50 cents for every name, email and phone number they collected. And all they did is that they handed out a bit of paper like that. It said, winner dinner for 6, name, email, phone number. That was it, about as big as your iPhone. And the girls would go to the table, and if Ron and his friends here were having dinner, she would say, look, here's an entry for you to win a dinner for 6 friends, for you, for you, for you. And she'd stand there, not walk away, because she's getting 50 cents, 50 cents, 50 cents, 50 cents. Cheapest advertising campaign ever. And they got 92% of all people filling in that form. He's up to like 80 or 90,000 these days on a database. But a month in, when he had a few thousand, I was there when he did it. I just wrote 12 text messages for him. And he said, JD, let me show you how this works. He's the only restaurant in the world that's 100% full every night of the year. Never, 180-seat restaurant never, ever has an empty seat. And I gave this idea to Max, who runs Iesco's down there. And because he's smoking something, I don't know, he's never does it. And he'll be the first to bitch and moan about the fact that he's not full every night. I could fill any restaurant in the world, bang, like that, if they just listened. And this guy listened. And so what happens at 3 o'clock of an afternoon, his office is upstairs, the restaurant's here, I was with him. He says, JD, I'll show you how well this works. And because he'd been running for a couple of months, he yells out to Cheryl, she comes in with a tablet. He says, show JD how many seats we've got booked tonight. And she says, 180 seats, we've got 72 booked. He goes, okay, well, time to fill those seats. Let's just pick JD's dickhead text message number 4, okay? So she says, oh, that's, hi, John and Gail. Pierre, our chef, has got a special lobster tail meal tonight for 2 for just $68. It's only available if you get back to us in the next 15 minutes. And 15 minutes later, she walks in and goes, all booked out. 15 minutes. He hasn't got ads on the side of buses anymore. He doesn't have to put ads in the paper. There's no radio. He doesn't have to do any letterbox drops. It's easier to sell to an existing database than it is to create a new one. You know that. So what happens? He doesn't send out to the whole 90,000 database every day doing all this crap. He only sends out to 500 and then another 5. And if she came back in and said there was still 20 seats left, what would he tell her to do? Just send out another 100 text messages. Every single night of the week, he's booked. Every Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night. And it's so simple. But none of you will be able to do that unless you collect data. Woolworths don't collect data. Coles don't collect data. McDonald's, right? Who thinks McDonald's is a pretty good marketer? I did a Facebook Live outside McDonald's. When was it? It was, I don't know, 2 weeks ago. We're up to 2,100 views because I said, these people are the silliest marketers in the world. If I was running McDonald's, I'd sack their marketing manager tomorrow. Why? Because they have 1.7 million people today go through McDonald's. They have no clue who one of them was. Okay? Yeah.
I'll give you a great example of that. Down here at the wharf here, there's a prawn trawler. He has my number. Every time he docks in, you try and see, they sell out completely every time. The prawn trawler's down here. He's got my text. He says, prawn trawler's here, 8:30 Friday, that's all, stock runs out. Christmas time we were there, the line was such, they ran out of seafood in 2 hours. People are travelling from Toowoomba to buy prawns.
There you go. Because they collect data and then they benefit from repetitive trade, which is Netflix. Yeah. I mean, Netflix is a subscription thing, so I'm not saying that, you know, the restaurant has a subscription, although they should. But it's the same principle, okay? He gets repetitive trade, and of course you can force repetitive trade by Netflix. As I said before, you know, you're not going to get Pat to go to lunch with you. He's too expensive to go to lunch with. And I'm not being silly, just to be ridiculous. Everyone want to go to lunch with him. So the only way you get to Pat is join one of his programs, and that's fair enough. That's the way it should be. There's every chance in the world he's going to fix your business or fix your mindset within that first meeting. But the fact is that if he was to charge by an hourly rate to fix your head and to fix your business for a lousy X dollars per hour, that's nuts. And if you're in the same thing, don't ever do that. Don't stop wearing the leather out in your shoes and stop having meetings. I'd say, without, again, not wanting to sound like a typical wanky seminar speaker, but I don't do many meetings now, okay? If McDonald's ring up, I do a meeting with them, sure. But, you know, when people, you know, say, oh, we have a meeting, and I said, no, let's do it over the phone. Let's do it over the phone. You know, like, what's your meeting? You've got to go and put a coat on, you got to get in the car, you got to drive there, you waste half a day. Forget that. Just put the damn camera on Facebook Live. This stuff here that's being recorded, we would probably, I've just looked at the numbers, we would probably have tomorrow between 500 and 1,000 somewhere that would have seen this by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. 500 to 1,000 for free. As Steve said, it doesn't cost any money. Yeah, Ken?
And John, that restaurant that sends those texts out, is that a program they use to
No, that's used any one of the 1,000 SMS companies, yeah. So it's no particular, no. It's just collect the data and milk the daylights out of it through SMS. And email, I'm not saying that email's not used as well, but it's mainly SMS. That fills the restaurant within 15 minutes. Okay, so what we'll do is another hot seat, and then I think, Pat, you're going to come up for the last 10, 15 minutes and do your thing, aren't you? Yeah. So what do you think, a hot seat for another 15 minutes? 15? About 15 minutes? Okay, good. And Gail has drawn out of the hat someone who, oh, by the way, well, anybody who would like to volunteer for the hot seat? No, you've got to put your hands up high. Isn't it funny? Before there was everyone, but now because they know what I'm going to do. Yeah. Okay, right, yeah. Okay.
The lucky person is Nikki.
Oh, you were going to volunteer? There you go. Well, Nikki, come up and we'll give you a microphone. We'll just give you a microphone.
Big hand for Nikki.
Yeah, thank you, Nick. Oh, gosh, that microphone's not going to be too crash. Will it work or not? I can't do it. Oh, you dream. So we'll do that tomorrow. Yeah, okay, yeah. We'll just get the microphone, Nikki, and if you can, stand here and I'll stand. Oh, no, actually, if you stand over here so I can draw over here if you don't mind. And if you could maybe just stand on your head too, that might be nice just to finish the day. So, Nikki, do we have a microphone or we don't? Oh, hang on, Ron's got one here. So I saw you steal that before, Ron. I didn't know what you were going to do with it. Yeah. Yeah, okay. There you go. Okay. So, Nikki, can you tell us what the business is?
Sure, Universe Solar.
Sorry, that's not. Oh, it's not working at all, is it? See, Ron stole it for no good reason. So, yeah, okay. Not to worry. Nice and loud then.
Just talk loud.
Yep, nice and loud. And I might repeat it for Facebook Live.
Universe Solar.
Okay, thanks, Nikki. So,
Sorry.
yeah. So with that, so it's a typical solar energy company. So you put the solar panels on people's roofs and.
Yeah.
Okay. And so Gold Coast panels, online solar. Have we ever met before?
Have we ever met?
But we haven't. So therefore, this is the first time we've seen that. I see David Copperfield do this, so I thought I'd do that just to prove that we're not meant to. Okay, because they're about to see some magic. That's all. So yeah. Okay. So therefore. You know what? A guy called Matt Hollywood, he might be watching now, who has the magic show here in Sanctuary Cove, and Pat knows him, and I don't. But Matt Hollywood came in here at lunchtime, and just bounced in and just said he spoke to Pat because he knew Pat, and then he said to me, he said, "This is incredible. I've never watched any more than 5 minutes on Facebook Live of anything." He said, "I've been glued to this for like 2.5 hours. I just had to come in and say thanks." I said, "Oh, mate, well, thank you very much." I said, "Now that we've given you that, is anything, can you do something for us?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Anyone in the room that looks like they're not participating or laughing with the dad jokes, can you just make them like disappear?" And he said, "Yeah, sure." So there's every chance he's coming in, and if you don't laugh, then you might be just zapped, yeah. Oh, sorry, Nikki, you're up here, yeah. Okay, so can we scroll down there and just have a look? What's down there? Okay. Just if we can scroll down. A marketing guy did the website. Wow, terrific. Okay, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you this, and you just talk into it like that. You don't just put it in the head. And I've got a louder voice than you, so how about you? Just hold the microphone. Okay, so, good. Okay, so therefore this was put together by a marketing guy.
Yeah.
Okay, see what I mean? There are so many so-called marketing guys and girls out there that will tell you that that's what they are, marketing guys. Yeah, and what they are is normally, how like if you've got a car problem. Where would you take your car if you had a car problem? To a car? Okay. If you were sick, where would you go? You go to a doctor. If you want a website design, where would you go to? You don't ever go near a website designer. Don't go anywhere near them because they're bearded hipsters and they're evil. Okay? And so therefore the thing is, if you go to a you're the exception, okay? If you go to a website design, it's like when I'm sitting in front of real estate agents, I say, "What do you do for a living?" I mentioned this morning, they say, "Oh, we market homes." Good. Well, show me your marketing qualifications. And you'll hear crickets in the background. No real estate agent has any marketing qualifications, and that's why your house sits on the market for 120 days. And that's why when they take photographs, the fireplace is not on. There's no one in the pool. It's an empty tennis court. Empty house, empty front yard, empty backyard. If I was selling a house to a baby boomer, I'd have us in the house having wine. If I was selling a townhouse or unit or apartment down in Surrey Hills in Sydney, I'd show Jen why smoking dope in the kitchen. And the reason is that people are attracted to people who look like them. So if you're selling to people that look a certain way, then put them in. And, you know, Shane didn't do it on his website. He just had his geeky guys there by the truck, you know. And unfortunately, Nicky's done the same thing here. So let me just go through this to see. My aim is here, let's see if we win. I'm trying to get Nicky to cry.
Oh no, is it really? You won't win.
Because we achieved that with Shane. Because you might not know this, but when I went outside for lunch, poor Shane's in the fetal position, bawling his eyes out like a little schoolgirl. But anyway, just toughen up, Shane. Okay, so can we just scroll down to the top of that? So that's the whole lot there. Oh, well, up to the top, sorry, yeah. Okay, right.
That's good. Sound.
Okay. Right, so therefore, I can read this one easier. So Gold Coast solar panels, money doesn't grow on trees, but we can show you how to make it grow on your roof. Does anyone have a bucket? Oh, thank you. Okay. Oh, no, hang on, for real. We deliver you the best Gold Coast solar panels for as much as you're paying for your bill now. Was this a Chinese person that wrote this copy? Or?
I think it's written by a copywriter.
Oh, a Chinese copywriter, yeah. Don't wait, request your solar panel quote now. Who is just on the edge of their seats? It's better than a Hugh Jackman like concert, isn't it? It's just, you're like, oh, I've got to get this. It is, yeah. Let me think, shit house. So therefore, when we're talking about, can you imagine if I just came out here today and you're expecting to get some sort of benefit from me, and my name is John Dwyer, just because this is what you've done, or your copywriter's done. John Dwyer. Thank you. That's what they've done. Gold Coast solar panels. That's not a headline. That's the name of your business. That's not a headline. A headline is not Woolworths. What you'll see is that the smart operators out there, let's just take back in the old days with a newspaper ad, up here is Coca-Cola for 99 cents. Kellogg, now I was the marketing guy for Woolworths, so I guess I take some credit for that. Then it would be in a press ad, just to show you how a press ad works, and if you're not doing it this way, you should, is in a press ad, how it works is that this is the big headline, okay? Whatever it is, Coca-Cola at 99 cents, whatever. This here is a bit smaller than that. And then this here is smaller, then it's smaller. And then Woolworths are down here. Woolworths is not the headline. Don't give it the headline, all right? I'm not saying you won't see ads out there, not from Woolworths, but from other people that have their name as the headline, but your name is not the headline. The headline is your benefit. So here, Coca-Cola at 90 cents takes up probably a third of the page. This one here is broken up into two. That one's broken up there, and this one's broken up to. Who has seen the Woolworths ads that look like that? That's the way they do it, because your eye starts there and comes down. But if they put Woolworths up there, would you give a shit? I don't think so. So don't do that on your web page, because that's the old days in a newspaper ad. A web page is no different, just treat it exactly the same. So what you've got to have is you've got to have your big stuff up there, you take it down, and exactly the same as what we did with Shane there. So up here it would be here, that would be Esme and or Beryl. Yeah, no, not Beryl, it wasn't that sort of relationship. So it's Esme and I don't know, Bill, Jim or whatever. Yeah. Okay, and so right, okay. And here it would be we save X $1,000 on our power bill, and we'll never pay power or whatever it might be. You know what we're talking about here. Okay, so therefore, do you think the headline that says we save $6,424 on our power bill and we'll never pay electricity bills again will be more impactful than Gold Coast solar panels?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not a headline. And I'm going to work really hard to get Nikki to cry because
Can I get to take the piece of paper home?
it's on Facebook Live. You can actually take home and show your husband that you got insulted by some wanker. Okay, so therefore, and the copy here, money doesn't grow on trees, well, that is sickening. So you just wouldn't use that. You know how like you see those things like shopping centres and they go, it's our birthday, but you get the... Yeah. And that falls into that category. So anything that's corny, particularly in Australia, because we tend to be pretty sarcastic, with some of us. So therefore, anything that's corny and anything that's fake, then just don't go down that path, all right? So what you would do on the body copy here, which would be my version of this, it'll say something like, did you know, statistically, the Australian Bureau of Statistics, and I'd say this because we've done 4 million solar companies, by the way, so Australian Bureau of Statistics show that 92% of Australian households are paying over X thousand dollars a year for power. And did you know that it's predicted that the power bills are going to go up by X% in the next 2 or 3 years? So there's every chance in the world that you, if you're one of those will be paying, guess what? You can say goodbye to all of them. And you can say goodbye to all of that for just $48 a week, because I guess you've got a finance plan.
Yeah.
There you go. Who thinks that headline and that copy will get it? Yeah. Okay. When I was with the Building Society, they were doing personal loans on TV. And I looked at them, I said, you've got to be joking. They were personal loans are for kids that want to buy a car or want to go on holiday, right? Because anybody that's got already a home loan, we just upped our home loan to get the extra 20 grand to buy a car if you wanted one, right? So these kids are under 25 and they're speaking Chinese. Here's what they're saying. Do you want to go on holiday or buy a car? Get a home loan from the Greater Building Society at 4.8%. Do you reckon any Gen Y knows what 4.8% is? When we changed the ad to speak English, not like this, but English, and it just said, would you like to get a brand new car for $30,000 because we can give you the money in 24 hours and it'll only cost you $71 a week. We melted the switchboard. $71 a week, they worked out what that was. 4.8%, that's Chinese. Just talk English, and that ain't English. Can we just scroll down? Oh wait, the online solar quote. Discover how much you can save by using, okay, that's not too bad. Okay, I'll live with that. The circle around today, yeah, okay, I think I probably use something a little bit more class than that. And the happy family, you know, and I know that comes from somewhere called iStock, okay? And there's nothing wrong with iStock from time to time, but that is just so predictable, it's not funny. So therefore, that's why if you did have real people, why have I got 38 video testimonials on my website? Why have I got 38 testimonials?
Original content.
Original content, yeah, more than that, but for $1 million. Anybody want to take a stab at it?
Not yourself.
I'm up myself.
Yeah.
Sorry. Kevin, you say that was up there. Oh, thanks, Kevin. I thought I referred to it. Kevin was being a rat man, yeah.
Trust one you can pay 50 pounds.
There you go. There you go. Okay, I can hand a carton of Crown Lager to Ron here to say something nice about me, which is not good news because I know he's alcoholic, but I give that to him and I can say, can you say something? I can't give 38 cartons of beer away. And yes, so therefore there's a, you know, like it's just, you can't say that this guy's got all his friends to say nice things about him. And of course what they're doing is positioning me in the trusted advisor role, okay? And in this instance, I mean, solar's been through a whole roller coaster with government subsidies and all sorts of things. You guys have been through hell and back, I know that. But the thing is that your competition are easy to beat. I mean, it's so easy to beat because none of your competition are doing any of this. They're doing that. Everyone's doing that. And it's just so predictable, it's not funny. Not everyone in the solar game, everyone in every game's doing it because they've gone to a website designer. They didn't go to a marketing person. And for God's sake, a website's just like a newspaper.
His name's a marketing coach.
He's a marketing
But
coach.
he's not doing a good job by the look of it.
He's a marketing coach.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what's he?
What's this guy? Is this a marketing guy?
He's a marketing coach.
Give me his name, I'll have him banned.
Well, no, he'll have him killed.
I won't say how much money he got me to spend on Facebook marketing that pretty much got zero.
Wow, 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 wow.
Vicky, can I ask you a question if you don't mind?
Sure.
How much did you guys pay for that? All this?
Well, he was a coach, so he directed one of my girls at work, but all up probably between Facebook and that, $20,000 for pretty much zero result.
What's his name?
That was over about 5 or 6 months, but
What's his name? Ned Kelly?
he's changed the website about 3 or 4 times.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so the thing is that Pat and I, we're wankers, but I think we're wankers with content. These people are just wankers, and there's a big, big difference, all right? Can we just scroll down because we've vomited 2 or 3 little logos there that mean nothing, okay? So just to vomit logos on the page there means nothing. Why solar is a no-brainer with Universe Solar? Oh, please. It was 9 years, 29,000. Oh, see, why would you make people work hard? Let's put the real big numbers that mean something in grey tone so that someone over 40 can't see it. Let's do that because they won't be expecting that. So therefore...
I'm still not crying.
So therefore, let me see, 29, okay, oh, whoa. Okay, so therefore, these figures here don't mean a lot to, well, 9 years in business is good, but yeah, okay. 29,000 units installed, regional service, out of all of those things there, oh, I can, hang on. Oh, sorry, you're still there. So Gail says I got a short attention span. Oh, yeah. And you know what? She says that I'm really indecisive, but I'm not so sure. Okay, so who votes? Do you think is one of the 1, 2, 3? But what are the 4 numbers up there? Which is the most important one? Okay, units installed. Anyone else want to say? Yep. Well, that's it. So they're the 2. Okay, so units installed and satisfaction are good. I'm not saying the others aren't good, but the big headline would be, okay, 29,389 Gold Coast homes. Okay, and then we would have
New South Wales.
New South Wales, whatever it might be. Yeah. Okay, let's just say. Have you come up to this event from New South Wales? Have you?
Queensland and New South Wales. I said,
Oh,
no,
from
yeah,
Queensland.
yeah.
I was going to say, yeah, boy. I hope you get your money's worth. Okay, so 29,000 homes in Queensland, New South Wales. You probably wouldn't even put that because just say 29,000 on it. Can't be wrong or have benefited from this. And then you'd say 100% satisfaction rate. They're the 2 big ones there. But you would not hide them with grey tone, for God's sake. You would actually make a big deal out of those. The brand persona that you've got there is not too bad. I'm guessing, you know, if I was, we won't go back to the top of the page, but it's at the just under the David Jones level, which is probably good. So what I do when I'm designing a website for anyone, and you'll see tomorrow, I'll sketch up one, like proper one, in about 60 seconds for you. But my brief to the website designer is it Mesiti, BMW, as well, if it was retailer, is it David Jones, is it Kmart, or is it the $2 shop? And then the website designers that we have on our team, they get it. They just get it straight away. So your brand persona is very important. I mean, despite what Steve said about, look, just put black and white type up there, that's fine just to do a beta test for a week or 2. But yes, my brand persona is going to be cheeky, irreverent, but with hopefully a lot of skill behind that. Pat's is much the same, and surprise, surprise, Steve's the same. I mean, talk about you guys have to put up with 3 cheeky, like sarcastic wankers. That's well, your bad luck, I guess.
Can I ask one quick question? What about if you deal with high end and lower end? Where do you
go high
market
end?
to?
Go high end. Okay, so therefore, if you're dealing with high end or lower end, always go high end. Someone from Mount Druitt will drive to Manly to go to the restaurant. No one from Manly will drive to Mount Druitt. Okay, so therefore, Manly will never go anywhere near the western suburbs, but the western suburbs will go to Bondi. So if you're going to be dealing with 2 different demographics, socioeconomic, they always err on the side of David Jones. Yeah. Okay, so therefore, this copy here, Universe family-owned operated company that is a business owner, mission is to help you understand. Oh dear. Okay, so therefore, this here, let me just read it the way that I would read it, okay? Not that I would read it. Universal Solar is a family-owned and operated local solar company offering the best Gold Coast solar panels to home, business and station owners. Our mission is to help. I would have stabbed myself through the eye with 2 pencils by the time I got there, okay? You see, it's not about these guys. It's not about them. It's all about the customer. So it's all about the benefits that you can provide the customer. You're going to say goodbye to your power bills like bang, instantly. It's only going to cost you $48 a week, bang. We're going to make your roof look really ugly, but that's still going to make you a benefit. If only there could be a better way of making the roof look not so ugly. Is there a way of doing that? Not really.
Not yet.
No, okay. Okay, so this here is interesting. Did you know that Australia has the highest average solar radiation of any continent in the world? Because of this, large-scale solar energy is rapidly growing. Okay, so it has the highest average solar radiation. What does that mean? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It just means basically we've got the highest UV rays in the world. And
is that good or bad? Are we
good.
zapping?
For solar is good.
Good. Who would have been, and I know that was it, okay, but no one being sarcastic, does the word radiation start to sort of think positive? Yeah. That copywriter, I'd sack him in a real hurry, okay? Yeah, I'd tell him to go back to China. Okay, so right here, there are over 2 million Australian households that are harnessing the power. Right, and we scroll to the bottom and then I'll finish this, I promise, in 2 minutes. Can you services? Residential solar, business solar, keep going. Rural solar. Okay, so what we'll do here is that this is what we call the Macca's menu board. So you would say here, big statement to get their attention about, why does anyone put solar in their house? Starts with S, to save money, okay? So that there, we've got Beryl and her husband Jack there. And then we're saying, look, just so that you know that we know what we're talking about, we've done this for 30,000 homes and we get 100% hit rate. And what I'd probably put there, by the way, is a explainer video. I call it explainer videos because that's what they are. They're really a sales video. And in that video, there would be compelling problem solution stories. So remember back here, if I just go back to these things here, that video would say, identify your most profitable customer. So the video, if it was being done by bloody me or Bert Newton or someone, or just a voiceover would say, guess what? You know what? If you fall into this particular category as a consumer, you own a house and you're in a regular suburb, you've got 3 kids, and so you're worried about the power bills, or if you are a business owner and you're worried about keeping overheads down, then just stay with me, stick with me. For, you know, if you notice the way that Pat does things, he'll say, stick with me, do all that sort of stuff. I don't, because I don't really want you to stick with me. But in his instance, Pat sort of likes people. So therefore, so he's building up the, I guess, the crescendo. So in something like this, you build up the crescendo, because stick with me, because I'm going to, and now the wow factor. In your instance, the wow factor is, of course, organic, because you save that amount of money, but there's still a whole bunch of other solar businesses out there that can save the same sort of money. So I would say to you, what do you think would be a wow factor for consumers? And what if I said to you, would you be willing to give up 10% of your sales price if we could double your sales? What would your answer be? 10%.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're a hairdressing salon and I said to you, would you give up 10% of your sale price to double it? You say yes. So the hairdressing salon that puts a 10% sign outside to say 10% discount on hairdo, no one's going to take the grip on, gives 50%. Why would 10%? But if that hairdresser said, for every $50 you spend with me, I'll give you a movie point. And when you get 10 movie points, which means you come back and get your haircut done from there, then we give you 2 tickets to the theatre, which is the cinema. We'll give you 1 movie point for every $50. When you get 10 movie points, we'll give you a $50 movie card to go to the Hoyt Cinema, which is 2 tickets. $50 is a percentage of the $500 that she spent? 10%. Which one do you think is going to work best? Of course, the artificial wow factor. So in your instance, and if I asked anyone here, because that's the way I work, that's exactly what we do for everyone when we're developing a wow factor, same with the building society, 10%. I say to people, do you want to give up 10% discount if you could double your business? They would go, yep. I say, good, forget the discount. Just transfer the discount into a Happy Meal toy. So in your instance, and I guarantee if I asked you, let's do it. Who here would be willing to give up 10% if I could double their business? Every day of the week, right. So in your instance, what's the average cost?
$6 grand.
Sorry?
6 grand.
6 grand. So what's your margin in that if you want to tell us? It's up to you.
Believe it or not, I don't know. My husband does all that.
Okay, right. Well, let's just say, would you be willing to give up 10% of the, you would? Okay.
Yeah.
So you get $600 to play with. So therefore, get your solar panels from us, but get it by Friday at 5 o'clock. You know what I'm doing? I'm getting fence sitters off the damn fence, okay? If you do it by Friday at 5 o'clock, and we're going to give you a night at the Palazzo Versace with a full-on 5-star dinner and a butler service. Now, it will not create leads. I'm not saying it's going to create, that's not a lead generator. There's plenty of other ways to do leads we won't go through now, but it is a conversion tool. Because if Nikki's conversion at the moment is 1 in 4, this will make it 3 in 4, like that, bang. And I say that because I've done it, and I've done it for solar companies, right? So the stuff I'm saying here, anybody sitting there, sort of, have you noted I talk pretty fast? Okay, you just got to listen faster, all right? But the thing is that the reason I do that is because I've done this shit like 4,000 million times. So when people say to me, I don't think we want to give away $1 million, I think we just give away cups and saucers, you just want to stab them because I've done all of it. I know exactly what works and what doesn't. I'm not saying I'm infallible, but there's a pretty good chance that if you were to put something like that on and you said, look, if you book through me by Friday, we're going to put you up at the Versace Hotel with a 5-star dinner and a butler service, there's a good chance if you've got A and B, you're going to pick A. And so therefore, in this instance here, identify your most profitable customer. We've done that. The wow factor you've done on the video, and more problem solution, you're paying way too much, and don't go to anyone else because we've done 30,000 of them. Fix your website, I've talked about that. And repetitive trade, your only repetitive trade for your business is through referrals because you're not going to get solar panels on your roof every 2 weeks, right? So therefore, the repetitive trade there is referrals, which means that you actually incentivize those people who have just got, you may already do this.
Yeah.
You do it? Yeah, okay. And what do you give them, by the way?
$200.
$200? You turn that $200 into a wow factor gift and it'll blitz it. It'll blitz it.
Okay.
See, the sushi trained people are nice people. Well, for Asians, they're nice people. And they are, I say that because our website guy is normally in the room, John Moo, his name is MU. And I always have a shot at him. I always say, John, could you stand? Oh, you are standing up. And then I say to him, look, we've had a call from security. You've got to move your rickshaw. It's in a no parking zone downstairs. And everybody thinks it's the whole Asian thing. Of course, what he does to get back at me, because he's a website guy, he just turns my website off. So, and you know what? His nickname is Jackie Chan. No one ever knows. Everyone's come onto our program. He said to me, his name's John Moo, M-U. He said, no one knows my real name. Everyone thinks I really am Jackie Chan. And they will say to me, I was talking to Jackie Chan, that's not his real name. Okay, so therefore here you've got the video thing, and here you'd have a Macca's menu board. Now I'm putting Macca's here just for your sake. It's not called Macca's on the website. It would say we have incredible 5 services to choose from, and that's what you just had up there a moment. So therefore there'd be the consumer, the business, something else and something else.
Yeah.
So that's your Macca's menu board. If you're an accountant, that Macca's menu board would be, we've got self-managed super, we've got tax minimisation, we have wealth creation, we have something else, all right? No one does it. On my website, when you get on there, because I know I have lots of different businesses, it'll say, are you a startup? Are you an established business with sales are flatlined? Are you a franchisor? Are you a franchisee? Are you online? Are you offline? Are you bricks and mortar? And then they just select, they go self-select and go bang. Do you think that when they go bang, I'm a startup, and they go through to my startup page, and when they go through to my startup page, it'll be like this, okay? It'll be, new business startup, and I have a little bit of blurb there, and then there's a video of me with a whole lot of stuff about what I can do for a startup. That video there of me is talking to them as a startup. Do you think I'm going to be mentioning KPIs to them? They'll think it's a new chicken chain. Okay, so I don't bring that up because that would just go in one ear out the other. So I've got to say to them, oh, your parents are probably giving you 10 grand to start a business. You don't want to let your parents down, so you should let me into your life. So anyway, I'm tired. I'm sorry, Nick, I'm not saying I'm disinterested in your business. I'm just tired, yeah. Okay, so therefore, Macca's menu board. What do you think the next thing should be on here? And it starts with T. And it's not tits.
Testimonial.
No, what's that? Well, it's actually boobs. Tits. T-I-T. I'm joking, it's not. Facebook Live now will light up with, oh, he's just a pig. No, here is testimonials, okay? Testimonials, and then you'll have your 2 or 3 screens there, and these people will be raving about how you've saved the money.
And that would be video, yeah?
Video, only video, okay? And even go further, not only has the what's Gold Coast Soul, what's it called? Gold Coast?
Universal.
Universal, I'm sorry, my attention span shot the ribbon, George. And so therefore, here, a whole bunch of them would say, look, not only have they saved me $6,750 a year, but I was going to leave my husband and now I've stayed because of the savings. And also I like silver shit on my roof, right? Yeah. And here you might have an offer, okay? You may have an offer with a call to action there, and then of course it goes down to your base plate, which is your contact details and so forth. Who thinks if the website, and by the way, just to give you an idea, who has been frustrated when they go to a website designer, normally a bearded hipster, as I said, or maybe a man bun, and you go to them, that they're waiting around for 6 months for your bloody wireframe, let alone the website. Anyone gone through that frustration? Right? We hardly have any websites that take more than 2 weeks to put together. Some of them are done in 2 days. If you want a template version, done in 2 days. I don't know how website designers are going to survive because the thing is unless they start to do this, okay? If they're just designers, and you know what I'm talking about, if they're just designers and they're putting pretty websites together, I can get a website out of the Philippines now for $350, $400 for a complete 6-page website. I can turn that 6-page website into 26 pages and the price will go from $350 to about $1,000. And yet everyone's still paying $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 for websites. And the reason that I believe that the traditional website designer will go south if they don't wake up to themselves is because they're not giving a direct response website. You want a sales-driven website. You don't want just a website. So when you put a rep on, it's a sales rep, not just a person to go out and shake hands.
I have one last question.
Sure.
Where would you put the contact form? Still up the top, right? Or does that go?
Up here. Yeah, I'd probably have, because we're doing this on the fly, but I'd probably have contact bars right throughout the website, okay? Because different horses for courses. So what will happen is that I'm turned on already by what I'm seeing up here with Esme and her husband. I go, yeah, that's for me. But others, we know through, and you would know through heat mapping, that there might be still 12%, 15% of people still haven't made up their mind, and they're going to have to watch testimonials to get them across the line. Or if this special offer here is, if you book by Friday, you go to the Palazzo Versace, that might be the thing that gets me across the line. So I would have, contact us buttons right through.
Nobody should need to scroll to find a contact us.
That's right. Exactly.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Do I get
Thanks,
to keep the
Nikki. Thanks for
paper?
being good sport too. Thank you.
Do I get to keep the paper?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, take that with you. Give me a second and I'll just give it a good rip. Good. Okay.
Thank you very much.
You did miss that part there, but I think you remember that, would you? Yeah. Okay. I've finished my gig and now it's back to Pat.
Hey, was that great or great? Now, look, it is, we're getting a bit late, and I feel the energy in the room. We might do some of those talks tomorrow. Is that okay? Yeah. And have you enjoyed that session with JD? Give him a hand clap. Would you do that? Now, look, tomorrow's going to be a great day because